Hey everybody, Kaysha here, and today I am here with my friend
Jennifer Guskin,
and we need your help. We are right now working on advocacy for combating human trafficking, and here's why. So we'll give you a little bit of background of our story and why we're doing what we're doing.
I was adopted as an infant by a couple who sold me throughout my childhood. I have been to Epstein Island and on multiple Lolita Express types of flights as a child. After I went public, Child Protective Services opened a substance-exposed newborn case, even though all tests came back negative, and they told me that if I wouldn't stop posting on social media, I would never see my daughter again. I started to connect how I was adopted as an infant and then sold throughout my childhood, how many other children who have been through the adoption, foster, and CPS pipelines have also been trafficked to Epstein's Elk.
And as many of you guys know already, based on the work that we do at the Karis Project, I'm an American Indian born in Canada under the Jay Treaty. My father and I were exposed in the improper contagion mitigation for the COVID pandemic in early 2020. As a result of this, I lost everything: a house, cars, corporate assets, jobs. Bank accounts were shut down in Canada, and I fled to the US as an American Indian, fully documented, and was trafficked by rogue agents in ICE and other agents in the government, and forced to live with single American men. I was even imprisoned for 7 months initially, and then trafficked throughout the states. Put on full surveillance tracking and wasn't allowed to leave the city, house, or state without permission, or work without permission. And that happened for many years, and I was on and off the streets because of that, and in and out of shelters. And that is just a small example of what many go through in this trafficking system, be it the family courts or otherwise. So that's why the Karis Project will be going to DC to speak with representatives and do live reporting. We're also going to be in contact with other families who are dealing with human trafficking, and through the CPS courts or through any other means, lesser versions of trafficking, and doing reporting on them live and otherwise. We will also be working on, we ultimately want to shine light on what's going on with the trafficking here in the US. And we also want to meet with various agencies in DC, and we'll be going back and forth for training sessions and other things so that we can be better equipped to help people deal with resolving some of the issues that we're seeing. We will also be putting forth petitions in government to help people get justice, and that's something that we have been working on already so far. We have some petitions that have recently been filed in the state of Colorado, Michigan, Texas, and Arizona, and we will be continuing.
But we can't do this on our own. We will be traveling to events and training courses, as well as DC on a consistent basis. We also have to get acceptable equipment, such as computers, cameras, interview gear, etc. There will be other miscellaneous costs that would also be like gas, food, and rooms if necessary.
So that is why we are working towards combating human trafficking, and that is exactly why we need your help. We cannot do this alone, and most what the Karis Project does is on its own dime. And so we do love and appreciate each and every one of you that support us and all the work that we do. As many of you know, we also live stream on Lindell TV every day. And everything we do, like I said, is on our own dime. So we appreciate all the love and support and all the people who do donate. And we would very much love and appreciate that still. Thank you everybody for your time and considerations. And thank you for all the support. And we will catch you guys in the next one, and hopefully we might see you guys in the future and come across you and maybe be able to do some great things together.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Karis Project podcast. Today we have with us Najeeb. He is running for the PPC in Calgary, McKnight, if I'm correct. And he's been here in Canada for 25 years and is wanting to come and make some changes to our government here in Canada. Sorry, your last name is Najeeb Butt. You want to kind of just introduce yourselves to our audience and tell us a little bit about who you are and why you're running for the PPC?
Yes, Dale, thank you very much having me on your show and giving me an opportunity to converse people through this wonderful medium. Um, like you said, my name is Najeeb Butt. I'm taking on from Calgary, McKnight, which is a brand new riding in the city of Calgary in the province of Alberta in the country of Canada. And I've been motivated by the people, and I believe it's a very vital and important work which is require the attention of each and every individual, all Canadians to participate to get the laws, rules, regulation, the Parliament, House of Common to make people's life easy. So here I am, and, taking on this riding in this upcoming election taking place, I believe, on 28th of April.
Yes. Yeah, the 28th of April. So what decided, like, you're not a politician, so what made you decide to run now out of any other times before that?
Uh, uh, yes, surely I'm not a professional politicians like other men and women, maybe in my riding and in different part of Canada, but certainly I'm a social person. I'm a grassroots political worker. I'm a proud volunteer, and I donate my time helping people. And during my campaign, knocking at the people's door, obtaining signatures, and many other occasions, I came to know that people they are starving. There are issues, there are concerns that not been addressed, and they want me to run. So I thought, why not? If people wishing so to address their issues, to raise their voice. I place myself as a candidate in this brand new constituency, Calgary.
So what kinds of things did your constituents ask you that said that they wanted to have dealt with, right? Because a lot of people are disgruntled about what the government's been doing. So what things did they bring up to you that they'd like to see changes?
Well, dear, there are so many things. Besides people, life is getting harder and harder, and even not to speak of bringing bread and butter on the table, people's facing a hardship, say making payments for groceries, for medicines, for mortgages, or for to meet their obligation as a tenant or their rent. So due to the policies of conservatives or liberals, that they have averted Canada from the right path, from the right trail. Uh, they have adopted the falsehood, which is making people's life really hard. So that's what raise their concerns. They raise their voices. I am here.
Yeah, and the cost of living is gone out of control. Like, I mean, when I first came to Alberta in 2001, it it was substantially cheaper to live here. The wages were very good, and most people were able to make a good living. Now, I mean, like, I guess when I was a heavy duty mechanic at the time, and I remember I was making, when you made $50,000 a year, that was really good for a single young man. Now, you couldn't live on that. And so this is something that really needs to change is the out of control inflation, the spending and so forth, that everybody's feeling the crunch. Like, you go to the grocery store, I mean, a bag, you spend $500 and seems like you only get a few bags of groceries, where before you'd need two carts for that, right? So I guess everybody else is feeling the pinch. And so, what would you like to see yourself? like what personally do you think you'd like to see changed in Ottawa based on your experience yourself?
Dale, a very good question, indeed, a magic question, but the answer is quite simple. Fact of the matter is living cost shoot up, going higher and higher and higher, and I agree with you. And the thing is, the Canadians are relying on trade. So these both elite clubs or the top guns or so-called calling themselves the superior parties, conservative and liberals, the both they fail to establish something which is known as manufacturing sector. They're relying on trading. So when you rely on trading and you people, Canadians have to pay taxes when the things comes in Canada when imported, and then comes from all the way from a wholesaler to all the way to traders, through traders, these retailers and their taxes. So they have to pay everything. And if Canada switch their abilities rather than trading towards manufacturing, they can not only generate their own things, those going to be better quality and better price. So the Canadians have an option to purchase the things not only made in Canada, at the same time at reduced rate. So that can cut their cost, and at the same time they can import those things to many countries. Like I believe Commonwealth countries, there are almost 50 plus Commonwealth countries. They are in search of their leaders. They can partner with them, and they can fulfill their needs. At the same time, they can provide Canadians groceries and other materials at an affordable cost. Manufacturing is the way to go.
Yes, I agree. Like I've got a background in mechanical engineering. I'm a technologist, got a bachelor of technology, and I grew up in Winnipeg, which was a lot of manufacturing, and we saw a lot of that manufacturing close down and go away to other places where now we're depending on someone else to make stuff that we can make here ourselves. And there's a lot of skilled workers here in order to fulfill those needs. So I agree with you that manufacturing is something that we have to bring back. And so um we need to make sure that's something that we prioritize, because bringing back jobs at Tim Hortons might be good for the young kids in school, but it isn't going to help you support a family, right? Like
Sure,
anybody trying to get a
sure.
house knows that to be true. And so what other issues outside of the, for example, the cost of like groceries and mortgages, anything else that they talked to you that you when you were talking to your constituents, anything else that they said that was important?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Certainly, basically, people they are working hard to meet their day-to-day needs, their requirements, and they need job security, surely, because when you rely on trading and you're not producing things of your own, so there is no job security at the same time. So people certainly talking about their health issues as well. They sell health things related with the health are very expensive. There are long queue at hospitals and quite long waiting time for surgeries such as replacing a hip or knees and things like that. And of course, to purchase a house for youngsters is just like yet another dream. They thought a housing market been ignored, and the developers and builders, they are making substantial amount of money, and it is too late. These slogans I heard as well that they're gonna cut the house market prices, they tax something up to 100,000, whatever. So these are the election slogans, and under Canadian horizon, people have yet to see the result of their promises, which they've been both elite parties are making for the past well over decades. They have not seen the results of their promises, so they are just trying, I believe, to cheat Canadians to get their vote yet another time, and just run this club the way they want.
Yeah, so they're telling us things. They're lying to us. Essentially, is what goes on. I mean, because the prices haven't gone down. When Trudeau came into office, and that was what 2015. Canada was on par with the United States per capita for our GDP, and we were doing fairly well. Now, our whole country is poorer than the poorest state in the United States. So we had a perfectly good economy that got driven into the ground, and now we can't afford to live. And the government that put us there is trying to tell us that they're going to take us out. Well, the last 9, 10 years of the Liberals, they were making us poorer. So what's going to change now? We actually really need change. Another thing I wanted to kind of touch on was the issue of crime, because nobody likes to have crime, and the crime has risen across Canada everywhere, and I would imagine your constituency is no different. And so, did they mention it? Any of the people there mentioned to you about the crime rates?
Oh, well, Dale, crime is certainly yet another major issue in Canada. And personally, myself and Canadians don't want such thing like crimes happening in their backyard. Not that long, just recently in my neighborhood, on the other day, we heard some shouts, firing shouts, and then the following day, the morning, I came to know that fighting going on in my neighborhood, and one person got killed, and police just arrived on the scene when something happened. They don't control the things. I mean, when it should be. And one person, I then I came to know maybe the second person also passed away. So crime is a major thing going on among youth as well, and we should plan. We should give them good education. We should give them security of their jobs. So people, rather than just keep them busy in those useless things, they should do some productive things such as athletics, education, and be professional in many areas where Canadians can noticeable scenes lack of opportunity. I mean, so they can generate many good opportunity for youngsters, and keep them busy in other things rather than just fighting on the street and dealing in drugs, things like that. So these are the responsibilities of the government which they fail to address. And I would like to just take a time to let you know, to bring another point in regard to the groceries and other things. I don't understand why these dairy things have been regulated, and farmers. I mean, because this dairy thing's been regulated in Canada, and they have a certain limit to produce the milk in Canada, while we have substantial amount of livestock in our country, and by taking off this managerial things, these regulations on dairy farmers, we can produce humongous amount of milk. And our farmers, many times there are times when they have to dump the milk. Rather than dumping the milk, they can just produce cheese and other butter and other things, and can provide with these dairy products can provide at a fair price, while a gallon of a 4 liter of a jug in Canada is more or less up to $7 regular milk price. That could be reduced maybe 50%. Maybe we can provide it at $3 if we just remove that managerial things on dairies. And we are importing more or less 67, almost up to 70% of our cheese and butter and other dairy related things from USA, and we can rely on our products and can save up to $800 million at least a year. At the same time, we should remove internal trade barriers among our provinces. So there should be no tax if something is going from province A to B, B to C, C to D. Internal trade, we should make easement for the benefit of people, Dale.
I agree. Like there shouldn't be any barriers between the provinces for trade. That's just nonsense. It's absolutely nuts. The the whole dairy the dairy thing that didn't make sense ever because what's the point of throwing away your produce when you can sell it, right? Like why? But they do this to artificially keep the prices high, and it hurts farmers. Like it doesn't get you the best because then you have to work hard to become or know the right people to become part of the dairy club where you can actually sell your stuff. It's like run like a cartel. If you're not one of those people, then you're out. Well, why not have a free market and allow the best people who can deliver the best product at the best price to the people make the money, right? Because then competition gets you the best of everything. Everybody wins when there's more competition, right?
Yeah.
Unless
Yeah, this group of people or this congregation, they sit together and there is no fair competition at all. They set the price, and I understand when they dump the milk, so that price pass on to the farmer, and at the later time, farmer pass on that price to the consumer. You, me, and every Canadian. That is, I can say, so silly or so sad. Should not do that. We should not waste that milk and produce cheese and butter and other stuff like that, and can save millions of dollars.
that would be a smart thing to do, but it seems like our government isn't doing smart things. We're doing things to benefit us. And this is why we're at where we're at because like the cost of food now is astronomical. And what the policies that are being put in place by the government isn't helping it. It's making it worse. And I don't understand why people want to vote for people that are literally making us poor. Like I know, okay, you came here to Canada, you said 25 years ago. You came here to have a better life. Is this what you imagined when you came to Canada and you worked for the last 25 years? Is this what you expected?
That's beyond my expectation. That was not the dream when I touched on beautiful Canada. There are a lot of differences. Like I see divisions. I certainly understand that under Canadian horizon, we are all same, and our national anthem, "O Canada," is addressing you, me, him, everybody as equally. But unfortunately, these elite clubs, these two top guns, these two so-called famous parties, conservatives and liberals, have diverted Canada to different directions rather than equality, where everybody should not be ignored and everybody should not be, majority of people should not sitting on the sideline. It's a vital work. It's an important work, which require the attention of each and every Canadians, and they just want to do it the way they want. They have make this Canadian government as an elite club. Look at that. They can do business in every part of the world. If they want, they wish, they can have their offices in New York. They can have their office in Chicago, they can office in Denver, Colorado, wherever, but not Canada. Why not? Then we are Canadian. We should be proud to be a Canadian and have your offices here in Canada. Give an opportunity to your people, and they don't want to do even these same things. They all they see where they can save some money in terms of taxes or things like that, and they have maybe offshore account as well. I don't know. The list goes on and on and on.
Well, listen to like let's talk about the taxes because I was talking to a guy that was in Toronto, and he was saying that a guy came to Canada, started a business, and now he's just going to leave because he said it doesn't make sense for me to be here because I'm being taxed to death. And our taxes are increasing continually, and we're seeing less of our money and we're being taxed more. So we need to cut taxes for businesses to come here because if people are running businesses, they're like, well, I'm going to leave here because the taxes are too high. How is that going to help us for jobs? We need to have some kind of tax cuts. Is this something that you would like to do going into Ottawa if you're elected to start working on cutting taxes?
Of course, surely I would like to certainly support reduced tax policies and reduced government expenditure. I mean, that's a wastage of money. Recently, Prime Minister he visited Europe. He spent well over 500 billion. That's a humongous amount, a substantial amount of money. You could save that money. You should think about that. I'm just here for only a limited amount of time, and the election is just on the curve. And once elected, then we will see. He can have those things probably maybe over the phone or whatever or Zoom meeting. But he was accompanied with a lot of people and private jets, things like that. I don't want to get into that details. If they wish, they could. This is wastage of money, wastage of Canadian time as well. They should link into this that Canadian economy is constantly is non-stop going down, down and down. Our economy is on slippery track, and they have no plan to block our Canadian economy going further down, down and down. And surely I will raise voice and touch base with the think tanks and certainly do the things which is best for all of us and best for Canada.
Yes, I agree. We're just going to take a short commercial break. Need to hear from Mike Lindell on MyPillow, and we'll be back in 1 minute.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, MyPillows, towels, slippers, blankets.
I'm interrupting this commercial to do something I've never done before. Get 2 MyPillows absolutely free on orders of $100 or more. I can't do this forever, so get on board with this great sale today. Our best-selling 6-piece bath towel sets or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Our famous standard MyPillow is only $14.98. Queens $18.98. King size only $1 more. Body pillows $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase $9.98. Save $40 on our spring percale and Giza Dream bed sheet sets. Any size, any color. So go to MyPillow.com or call that number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And when you spend $100 or more, get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
Yeah, so if anybody needs any MyPillow products, go to mypillow.com/Karis or call 800-845-2942. They got pillows, bath sheets, bath towels, and so forth, bath stuff, bed sheets, beds, and all that good stuff. So go check it out, support a good cause. Yes, and so lower taxes, circling back to what we're talking about, lower taxes is important. We need to be competitive for business. We need to make more economic prosperity and so forth. One of the things I wanted to circle back on is the education of what's going on in our schools, right? I know that education is provincially regulated, but the funds still come from the federal government. And there's a lot of things going on in the schools that many parents are very dissatisfied with. And a lot of this is this like stuff where they have the boys going into the girls' bathrooms and all this kind of stuff and pushing this sexualization of the children with all of this stuff that should never be in school. Because when I grew up going to school, this was never a part of it. And if it was, like there would parents would be at that school like crazy going nuts. And so what are your thoughts on this whole situation?
Well, Dale, it's a very good question as well. And when we talk about education, it's very important. I know I have raised three kids. They all university graduate, and I know how to take to get these things from high school to university, graduated, and then these guys are men and women, youngsters, youth are looking certainly jobs. So I believe with education, it's also related and connected the careers. Also related during their education period is sports. So education and careers and sports, I mean, athletics, participating in these things is very important for our kids' health. The thing is, in many universities, as we all know, they say there's a merit. So they don't understand maybe the meaning of merit, what merit is. So, okay, the merit is say 80% or 85% or 90% or whatever the merit is. That means there's a head in certain area, say in the medical or in health or in engineering and on these sectors, we need maybe 5,000 graduates, and surely, which means they will provide careers, jobs to those men and women. So there are merits in the universities, but unfortunately, when they are graduated, so then merit do not mean anything. The youngsters, youth, still in search of those jobs, and they don't see any jobs. Then they are going in maybe different countries, or then they are doing maybe other than the things which they are skilled for. So education, if these I mean parties and education authorities have merit for their educational institutes, then government must make sure that all graduates, if they pass from the university, they must have the job and the right job that does correspond with their education. But unfortunately, I have seen many graduates. They are after graduation, they're still in search of the job in the area they're skilled for, and they are doing probably things which they are not qualified, and they are learning while just joining those duties because they have not any other options. So government must make sure I will support the youth, and I will make sure if they graduated from the university, so there should be job waiting for those men and women at the same time.
I know that universities are very bad at this. They will do a lot of like they'll do a lot of courses and they don't match what the job field is. So they might not put out enough, for example, engineers, but then they'll put out too many nurses. So you'll create a shortage of engineers, but you'll have too many nurses. But if you kind of kept in touch with what was the demand, we'll scale back some classes as the jobs are being filled, and then other ones open them up so that people can go into courses that they're going to get a reasonable chance of getting a job. Because if you get 10,000 nurses, but you only need 1,000, well, you're going to make sure that 9,000 of them are going to be out of work. Why would you do that? Why not do 1,000 nurses, but then you need, say, 10,000 engineers, but you only got 2,000 that being put out? Will increase the class by 6,000, so you could at least meet that demand. But this is something that they're not doing, and this is something that really needs to be addressed,
Yeah,
and so forth.
yeah, exactly. I agree. That's what merit means. That's what merit stands for. Supply and demand. They should follow these procedures strictly. That here is the merit, here is the demand. So for nurses, this is the merit, say 80%, 90% for engineers, this merit. for history, this mattered, for journalism, this mattered. So when people graduated from those classes, they're going to have the job in their area, but they don't pay attention. They are busy. This elite club is busy doing something different, which does not correspond with the necessity of public of Canada.
Well, it's like if you have a business, you're not going to go and hire a bunch of the wrong people, or you're not going to go and provide the wrong product for your customers. And this is what the government is doing continually. They're giving us things that we don't need or we don't want or that are not going to be useful for us. And they're going to be like, well, too bad, figure it out. What do you mean? You did this, right? So they need to fix this. This is just, it's broken. Yeah, one of the other things we wanted to talk about, and I know that this is a hotly contested thing, about the immigration and the way that they're doing it now, where they don't, Canada has a housing crisis. There's not enough homes for people, there's not enough places for rent. So if you have a kid that's going to school, they can't find a place because they're bringing in more people than they can sustain, and we're not building enough. And then some of the people that they're bringing here, they're bringing them here to become homeless, right? Well, this is unfair to everybody, because why, if you had a home back where you came from and you came here and you're expecting to go get a job and be able to work, and they're like, here, you're going to go sleep in that tent city. How is that fair to that person, right? Or your kids that want to go to school, well, your apartment's $5,000 a month, but I only make $2,000 a month. Well, I guess you're going to have to figure it out. Like, how is that fair to anybody, right?
Yeah, yes, Dale. It's a good question. It's a very sensitive question. Immigration is a kind of you can say, even to me it's like a bone of contention among different communities as well. But fact of the matter is, immigration is also related and connected with the human trafficking, which is bad. I am not against documented immigration at all. If people, want wishes come to Canada, more than welcome, but documented and as per our requirement, as per our necessity. I myself am migrant as well.
The,
I came really. I just came based on my education, honestly, and they accepted me as a migrant, and I touched on to Canada. Salute to Canada. I'm very thankful. The same way, if we need it, people in certain areas, in say in the teaching, in health, doctors, engineers, whatever. If there is a need, surely people welcome, but document it. Human trafficking is not safe. I've been noticed. You notice as well. Maybe families are coming, holding small kids, severe weather conditions, snow, other things, walking maybe days and nights, no water. There are deaths on the road, on the scene. No one is there to provide medical assistance, things like that. And but that's what we don't want. We want people can come documented by the
well,
legal way, not the illegal way, if there is necessity, provided we need them. More than welcome.
Well, that's exactly it. Like most people who came from Canada, they immigrated here at some point, right? And so we understand that this is the way it works. But there was a news story, and it was from India. They actually called out the Canadian universities for trafficking the students from India into the United States. That's that should never happen. The government, I'm sorry, you should not be involved in that. The other countries are calling us out for doing this. This is not right, and it's a crime. And that problem needs to be curbed. Like, nobody should come here expecting to get an education and then be smuggled somewhere else. Right? That's crime.
Yeah, I agree. All form of unparliamentary way of entering Canada, illegal way of entering Canada, I object that. I certainly object that. And the people in other part of the world, their agencies, their government, they should look into their matter as well and make sure that if someone is coming from somewhere in Canada, before their boarding, they should make sure that the person is legal and documented, everything is perfect. Otherwise, I guess the Canadians should impose heavy fines on those countries to block
It-
these illegal trafficking.
yes, because when they bring in criminals and people that are being associated with this criminal activity, it hurts everybody, especially the people who came here legally that worked hard to get here, and then somebody just gets to just jump the queue, and then like it's like, what's all your hard work for? You had to go through a lot of work to get here, right?
That's what that's what I said, that we don't want anything such like that happening in our backyard. We don't want such thing like that. Clear documentation. If we need it, if there is a need, we can fulfill that. If there is no need, no problem. Please wait until that time comes. There is a requirement, open it up, and people welcome from all around the world, no problem. But if we don't need it, we better look at our on people, and we must ban these things with immediate effect until we correct the things right here in Canada.
This is why I'm in favor of we need change in government, because it doesn't matter what area we're looking at, things are being done wrong and it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's not rocket science that you don't spend more than you earn. You don't open your door and let 1,000 people into your house when you've only got 8 beds and you don't know who they are, right? Like, you would vet people coming into your house. You vet the people that come into the country, and don't allow like all this drugs and everything else that you're seeing all over the place, because nobody likes drugs. Like, I mean, drugs causes problem for everybody. Like, look at the way things are going in the last 10 years with the drugs that have been flooding into our country, right, from places like China.
I agree. But unfortunately, they have no will, they have no wish to fix these things. They're busy just doing things for their own profit. They don't care about public. So there's a substantial amount of mess all around the country. We have to fix it. I'm telling to Canadian voters at this point of time, I would like to request them, oh my dear Canadian fellows, please vote wisely. Please try to understand, my dear Canadian fellows, your individual vote carries a lot of weight. You are the captain. Oh, my Canadian fellow, you are the captain of your vote. You are the captain of your vote. You are the one who can decide who can rule in the Capitol Hill, who can talk about the future of your kid, who can talk about your health, who can talk about seniors, who can talk about children, women, youth for their careers. So your vote matters. Please vote very wisely at this point of time. The vote who deserve it, who can at least ring the bell. I understand myself, maybe my party, People's Party of Canada, may not able to form a government, but who knows? But still, if you're gonna elect me, believe I will be your voice in the Parliament House. I will be your voice in the House of Commons. I will be your voice in the Capitol Hill, and certainly you will feel that your vote will not be wasted. I gonna report you as a duty. I gonna salute you, and on the day of my taking oath, I gonna tell I'm reporting to my Canadian fellows. Here I am, and I will contact with you via email, corner meetings, town hall meetings, get-togethers, and listen to you and convey your opinions, your thought right there in the Capitol Hill. So kindly elect me as your future member of Parliament in the House of Commons, and I assure you I will never disappoint you. And I'm going to tell one more thing right now. If I elected, I promise, it's my undertaking, then that I will donate more than half of my wages, my salary, my paycheck to my community every month at the total term 5 years. So I will donate half of my wages to my community towards my underprivileged people. I'm gonna donate my wages, my salary, my check back to you, half of my salary. I promise I am undertaking. I donate all that to you. My Canadians, you are the captain of your boat. Please vote wisely.
This is very important. And one thing I want to touch on, because a lot of the politicians here, they're giving themselves raises while people are starving. They're hiring more people in the government while the private sector is just languishing. The tax bases and so forth are terrible. And here in Alberta, with the energy, they're trying to block production of oil in Alberta, and that's been the lifeblood of this province and this country for years. So what would you do for if you were elected about the whole oil thing here in Alberta to help promote that? Because that's a bone of contention here.
Well, Dale, it's very sad that raising your personal wages and ignoring public, that does not match their slogans at all. It's shame indeed. They should cut their wages and donate money, like I said, to the needy peoples. Why they are not doing these good things when election time comes? They just make promises as much as high as the Canadian horizons are. At the end of the day, when they are elected, they run away. They don't do even simple things like each and every public representative designated as a simple thing as a commissioner for oath as a notary public. And when people they needed to endorse those documents, it is nothing wrong. Just see the ID and endorse those things. They run away. They don't do even these things. Even they can delegate these powers to their staff. They don't do these things. All they just want to cut the ribbons and they need the VIP treatment. Even they're coming wherever from which side they're coming, they want all the way come to the front seat sitting there, and they just want to pretend that they are the well wisher of the public. Indeed, they are not. We need dedicated people, the one who is just like us, servant of the public, servant of the public.
Yes. What about the pipelines? Would you be in favor of more pipelines here in Alberta so that they would create more jobs?
Well, the time has come now. It's very important. We need those pipelines. Surely, why not? With some safety measures, it's okay. It should be, rather than really spending so much money. Another form of transporting these things. This is the most safe way, and I am in favor of that. Yeah, it should be. No problem. That will generate basically a humongous amount of employment, and I mean, people in many areas will get permanent jobs. Why not?
Well,
Canadian economy will move.
well, yes, and we produce oil here cleaner than pretty much anywhere else on planet Earth. And in some countries, they're abusing human rights, like killing people and stuff. So why would we want to buy places oil from places like that are treating people terribly? They're not doing it very well, and we can do it here cleanly. Why not do it here?
Yeah. By doing so, not only we will meet our own requirement, our necessity, we can export substantial amount of oil and gas products to the other world, specifically to the Commonwealth countries. Like I said, they are in search of their leaders. Be the leader, and just have good organizations and export things from them and import things from Commonwealth countries as well. Commonwealth market is open. Canada, please pay attention over there, and I will raise up this issue over there. This is a new market.
Yes, and you're a realtor, so you were in the business of selling homes and so forth. And
Yes, sir.
so, what have you noticed over these last 5 years, especially with the way the housing market is going?
Well, you can see the housing market is beyond the capacity of a common person. Like when I was young, and I believe way before I was 30 plus when I purchased my first home in Canada as well. So the thing is, my son, they were not able to uh, do the same thing to purchase a house when they were in my age. So especially our youngster, our youth, men and women, and they are not able to purchase a house because it's been very expensive. It is beyond their limits. So they are just majority of them, they are just renting those properties, and it is their dream to buy a house. So surely I will work hard and bring up my proposals, suggestions, and through my public opinions to make easements for specifically youth, so they can buy a house of their choice, which is quite difficult now.
Well, yes, and I think that if you have a job, you should be able to afford a place to live. There are people who are working that are homeless, and that's insane. Like, how is it that you have a job, you're going out and earning a living, but you can't afford a place to live? There's a problem there, a big problem.
Yeah, not to speak of a homeless person who is generating almost zero income, but the men and women youth, their paycheck is almost around 65 grand per year, right? Even they are not able to purchase a house because for an average house, your income must be between minimum 90,000 to under 25,000. And an average income for Canadian youngsters is around 65,000. So basically, they don't qualify due to the debt ratio, things like that. You know, debt ratio means how much your income is, how much your expenditures are, and end of the day, they calculate that should be 30, 40, or in that range. It is always beyond that limit. So technically, they are not approved, and then interest rate certainly it has dropped, but still, to buy an average house in Canada for a young couple, their income must be at least 125,000 minimum. But unfortunately, most of the time their income stays between 65 to 90 grand, and they are unable to purchase their house of their dream house. So still, they are looking, that time comes when they're going to be able to purchase a house. And I will try my level best to bring a plan where all youngsters, youth, able to get a house of their choice.
Yes, and that's important. Like, I mean, we need to make sure that there is a future for the children. Yeah, we're running up here on time here. So where can people find you and how can they help you?
Say again.
Where can people find you and how can they support what you're doing?
Okay. First of all, Dale, thank you very much having me on your show. It was very nice to converse with you through this wonderful medium. Like I said, my name is Najeeb Butt. I'm a social person. I'm a grassroots political worker. I'm a proud volunteer. And they can find me on Facebook. Just type Najeeb Butt, and on Twitter as well. And they can certainly reach me with my email. Very simple. I'm an open person. If they're going to type Najeeb Butt, search Najeeb Butt, and they can find my email as well, Baba Najeeb at gmail.com. And the phone number to reach me is area code 403-617-6454. I repeat, 403-617-6454. I'm available at any point of time, and I promise, I undertake, I will not hide myself. Will not change the number as well. It will remain as is, and we will stay connected with my public every time they need me.
Sorry. Thank you. Being connected to the public is a very good thing, seeing that our government has been cutting themselves off from the public. We want to have government that's accountable and that is connected to the public that you have access to. And so, go check him out. You'll see his links in the description if you're watching on Facebook, if you're on Rumble, and so forth. You'll see the link to him as People's Party of Canada, so you can see what he stands for. And I'm going to sit down and tell people, like he said, think about who you are voting for, why you're voting for, and like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Because what they did the last 5 years, we can't have another 5 years of that. We cannot. Our country will not survive. So I'm saying right now, let's use our votes wisely. And I'll close here with a prayer. And thank you all for coming. All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me on your show.
All right. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your love, grace, and mercy. We thank you for the work that Najeeb is doing to try to stand up for his people and for all the Canadians around this country, and help the men and women that are standing up for this country to help rebuild our country, our government, our communities, our churches, and our nation, that we can have some prosperity for the children is my prayer. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you guys again next time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.